Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my story as anonymous? I am a new follower here and I want to share with you my own confession. And my story, it goes on like this. There was a man that I met. I can say I met him all by mistake. This guy, he was staying in our location. This happened, it was in the year 2009. So he was working and he had a wife, and this woman, she used to visit him quite often. It's not like I was checking up on him, but he was just someone that was staying in our community. So I knew about him. I knew that he was doing some piece jobs and he had a wife that used to come and visit him in South Africa maybe twice or once a year. That was all that I knew about him, and he was not dating anyone like other guys that were from other countries that were always chasing after women. This one, he was very decent. He even went to a church, a Pentecostal church. So later on, me and him, we then started talking. When we started talking, this was after I had gone to the spaza shop. I don't know what happened, but I lost my money along the way. So I was trying to negotiate with a Somalian guy, telling him that I wanted bread and then I would send some children with the money because I did not want to walk back without the bread because I was really hungry. But the Somalian guy did not want to give me the bread because he had once proposed love to me and I had refused, and I said, no, I am not that much into you that we can start dating. So he had a grudge against me, and that was the reason as to why the guy was refusing to give me the bread. So this Zimbabwean guy, he then came. He also wanted to buy something, and after he had bought, he then listened to our argument that we were having, and then that was when he spoke with the Somalian guy. He then asked me, what is it that I wanted? And I told him that I wanted bread and some other things. And then he said, okay, it's fine, I have 100 rand here, how about you buy anything that you want? And I then bought the bread. I also bought milk, tinned fish, and then we started talking as he was accompanying me to my place. That was where the spark of love happened. Me and him, we continued talking after I had given him my phone numbers because I was like, why not? This guy, it seems as if he's really a nice guy. Let me just give him my phone numbers. I then gave him my phone numbers and we spoke. He then proposed love to me 2 days down the line. I said, okay, let me test out this guy so that I can just see what is he all about. So me and him, we started dating. I was nervous to date a married guy because I had never done such a thing in my entire life. But he then said that since his wife was never around, the wife was always in Zim, then it meant that I was going to be the main girlfriend since he was not dating another woman, and he promised that he was going to take care of me as well. So the promise of him going to take care of me, that is what made me to agree to date him and to be serious with him, because the first days when we started dating, I was not taking it as a serious relationship. Even whenever he would say, I want you to come to my place, really, I did not even want to go to his place. So we then got so much involved with each other, and I did not even think about anything except for being with him at all the times. Fast forward, I started staying with him. Whenever the wife was not around, I would be with him, and when the wife was here in South Africa, I would move back to my parents' house. And then the wife died suddenly and we went to his country. It was very embarrassing. As a girlfriend, you are there and people are just looking at you. And what I did not know at that time was that he had sacrificed the wife. This was before he had made all this money that he now has. I went there and he was actually using me without me even realizing that I was being used by my boyfriend, because when we went there, I was then told that since I was a new daughter-in-law, there were other things that were supposed to be done, the things that they do in their culture there in Zim. So some of these things were like cooking food at the funeral. But what really did not make sense to me, it was a week after this woman had died. We were still in Zim because he said that he wanted to go and check out this other mine to see if he can be able to get some mining licenses there. So we were staying there. He was the one that would run around doing his business whilst I was staying with his parents, and they loved me quite a lot. So before we had returned back to South Africa for about a week, that was when we went to the grave. And when we went to the grave, I was then given a sweeping broom, and this sweeping broom, it was that one that is made out of grass. So it was me and his younger brothers and my sister-in-laws and a few relatives, and then there was one old woman who was like a traditional healer. This woman, she was there as well, and she was the one that was giving them the instructions, and those instructions were being given to me as to what I was supposed to do. And they told me that I was supposed to kneel down and I was supposed to sweep the woman's grave, since she used to be my big sister and we were sister wives. Even though she did not even know about me, I did not refuse, because the man that I was dating, first of all, I had fallen in love with him, and love can make you do crazy things. And the promise of money, when he mentioned it to me that he was going to get a mining license, you can just imagine a man that is going to be an owner of a mine. That is a lot of money. So I did as I had been instructed to do, to sweep the grave of that woman, and then we collected some soil and we put the soil inside a human skull. I was told that it was a human skull that I was made to touch and to hand it over to my boyfriend, and it was given to the traditional healer. But in Zim, there is no such thing as a boyfriend. Once you start to stay together, you are the wife, because they were referring me as if I was his wife. That is why I was performing all of the duties on top of his late wife's grave. We then returned back to South Africa. We continued dating. He then asked me what was it that I desired the most in my life. I told him that I wanted to start a business and I wanted to buy myself a car. I wanted to buy a house and I wanted to renovate my mom's house. And he said, it is done. I thought that the guy was laughing. He then went with me to this other white guy who owned a car dealership, and he said that he was his partner. I did not understand, and that is how I ended up having my own car dealership to this very day. It was through that white man that assisted me with the inventory, and these cars that we would be having at our dealership, those were the cars that belonged to the white man, and then people would buy and we would get some commission. That is how I was able to get out of poverty. My boyfriend then started avoiding me, so I thought that maybe he was dating someone else, until he sat down with me. I still remember that very day. He came to my house and I was really sad, because I did not understand why he used to love me when there was no money. Now that I was independent and he was independent, yet he was not that much into me anymore. That was when he told me that he could not make love to a normal woman anymore. I said, what do you mean? He then told me that his wife, whenever she wakes up, she possesses the body of a mad woman. So he collects a mad woman from the street. He stays with that mad woman until the wife would have possessed that mad woman. Then he is supposed to sleep with that woman to treat him with respect as if she is the wife. To this very day, this is what this guy do. And whenever I think about this story, I once shared it with my friend. She would not even believe it, but it happened to me. Without this guy, I was still going to be stuck in poverty, but because of him, I was able to start my own business, even though he is a ritualist. So I want you to ask your listeners, why is it that I benefited from another woman who died, and yet I have never seen her spirit? I have never had any weird spiritual encounters. My life is just normal, and I am running a normal business, and it is not a fly-by-night car dealership. We have cars that we sell through the bank and we get our commission, and I do have people that are working for me. Yet my story started after we had gone to Zim and we did those rituals that I explained to you earlier on. So please, when you post, ask your listeners, is my money clean money, or can it be considered to be ritual money? Because it always bothers me whenever I want to buy something luxurious. It makes me to think so much about that woman who died, and it makes me to feel so bad, and I can't enjoy my money properly because of this, even though spiritually I do not have any bad things that are happening to me. When you post, you will tell me, I will follow in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. The money that she has, do you think that it is clean money or it is not clean money? Tell us what you think in the comment section. Then there is another message that was sent to me. The message, it reads like this: Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my story? And let me first say this: I know my story is not normal. I know if people hear it, they'll say that it is because you are evil. But I want you to understand something. Sometimes it is because of this darkness that overpowers you, and it comes as a demon. Then you end up being involved in all of these things that you do not even know how to explain how it all started. I am a man who was born and raised in Soweto. Now I moved out of the location, and growing up, life was a little bit difficult because my mom, she was a single mom. I can say that life became more difficult after my mom decided to get married again. My stepfather, he hated me with all of his heart. There was nothing that he ever wanted to do around me. He just simply hated me. So I was stuck, and I did not even go to school. I did not finish my education properly. I started working, but life still was messed up. You see, in 2014, that was when I lost my job as a security guard. And when you lose a job like a security guard, you become useless in your relatives' eyes, because by then I was 31, I had a son, rent and responsibilities. I started taking any job that would come. One day, my friend told me about a mortuary that was in Bramside. They needed assistant workers. I had never worked with dead people before. I didn't enjoy being at funerals. I did not even like funerals, but poverty made me to say yes to something that my spirit should have never said yes to. The mortuary took me in as a helper. They trained me how to wash bodies, pack them, handle the paperwork. The first 2 weeks I was shaking. I would go home, bath 3 times, smelling Dettol, my skin feeling somehow. I had to sleep with the light on, because whenever I would switch off the light, something would trick me and say that they are dead people that are with me in my room. I even told myself that I will quit, but soon after month end, the bills will go unpaid, and I still had to go back to work. So after some months, I got used to everything. You know, people, they think that when you are working in a mortuary, every night you see dead people walking. No, the scariest part about working in the mortuary, it is always quiet. It is always silent. It is so quiet that you can even hear yourself, even your heart beating. And at first, I just wanted to survive, but something happened around mid-2015. I started getting curious about other things after I had taken this other paper, like a pamphlet that they give in town. So I just wanted to read what was on there, and what made me to want to know more about this. It was when I read that there are short boys that can give you money, and I did not care where this money came from. So I contacted the person, and I was scared because the man that spoke, he was Nigerian, and I said, these ones, they are going to scam me. What am I going to do here? So I went to the shop where those Nigerians were. When I arrived there, I was more confused because in the front there was a saloon, then at the back, that was where they were doing these ukutwala businesses of theirs. I went to the back, and then they charged me the amount. It was quite a lot, and I told them that I was going to be back. So they asked me when I was going to be back, and I told them that when I get my money at the end of the month. And they asked me where I was working, and I told them that I was working at a mortuary in Bram. And they said, oh wow, you are working at a mortuary. It was surprising that these people, they were the first people that I had told that I am working in a mortuary, and they did not even get scared about me working in a mortuary and getting money from cleaning dead people. So they were more interested in me. They said, we can actually have something working for the both of us, because they wanted the water that I would have used when I would be washing dead bodies. They then gave me something that I was supposed to pour the water inside of this other white jug. It was a plastic white jug that they gave to me, and they told me that whenever I would be cleaning dead bodies, I was supposed to put the water inside there. I took it, and they promised me that I was going to get so much money. They told me that it was not even necessary anymore for me to perform the rituals of me wanting to get those short boys. What mattered was what I was going to do for them physically, because they wanted that water. They had been looking for someone that they can work with for a very long time, and they were unable to get someone, and now they were excited that they had found someone like me. I said, okay, fair enough. So me and this guy, we then started working together. I would go to work, and I would be having that jug inside of my backpack, and then when I was all alone, I would take that jug and I would put the water that we would have used when we would be washing a dead body, and I would close it neatly, put it inside a plastic bag, and I would tie that plastic bag. And when I would go home, those people, they would be waiting for me by the taxi rank, and they would collect that jug that would be full of the water, and they would give me money each and every time. They would increase the money. So this happened the first year when I started working with these people in 2014. Then in 2015-16 we continued doing what we were doing, but 2016, that was the year when I finally got rich for the first time in my life. This was after they told me that there was another man from Durban who was a taxi boss, and there was a lot of taxi violence that was happening, so he needed some protection. And in order for him to be protected, he was supposed to sleep with a dead woman. But since he did not want to get his hands dirty, he could pay someone to do it for him. And they asked me if I was willing to do such a thing. I said, sleeping with a dead person? I have never thought about doing such a thing. I can't sleep with a dead person. And then they told me the money that I was going to get if it happened that I would be able to successfully do that. So I agreed. I slept with the first dead body in the year 2016. I agreed. It was something that was terrifying to get on top of a woman who was as cold as ice, no longer breathing, and you try to force your thing in there, because when a person has died, their muscles, they become stiff, like the way that you penetrate a woman who is alive and a woman that is dead. It is totally different. Penetration with a dead person, it feels somehow, it's like you are trying to penetrate a rock. That is what I felt at that time, but still I did it. So what they wanted was after I would have finished ejaculating. Then I was supposed to wipe myself with this other cloth that they had given to me. It was a yellowish cloth, and I was supposed to go and give it to the Nigerians. Then this man, he was supposed to use it to bath with it until the wars that were happening in the taxi industry were over. That is how he was going to be protected. So I did as I had been instructed to do. So that is how it all started with that woman. And from there on, those Nigerian men, they would regularly come and tell me that I was supposed to sleep with the dead bodies. And from 2016 to 2017, when I was finally caught by one of my workmates on top of this other dead woman who had died in a terrible accident, and I went back to those Nigerians and they told me that they were going to deal with that woman, otherwise she was going to expose us, the work that we were doing, to other people. So then they used their charms and they called him to their shrine. That woman appeared, and then they told her that since she had seen some things that were going to put me at risk, they wanted her dead. She pleaded with them and she said, "But I have a child, please do not do this to me." And then they told her that it was impossible for them to forgive him. She was supposed to die, and that woman, she passed away. So they told me that since I had been exposed, even though no one knew it, I could not continue with the work that I was doing anymore. So then they gave me my final package and I stopped working with those Nigerians. So it's not like each and every person that you see that has money, that have their money clean. My money came from washing dead bodies, taking the water, selling the water to the Nigerians, as well as sleeping with dead bodies so that I can get money in return. And the only thing that I have not going on for me right now is I struggle a lot, because when I am with my wife, there is something that is always happening. When I try to sleep with him, I always have flashbacks of what used to happen when I was working at the mortuary. I can see her as if she is a dead person, and when it happens, I lose feelings for any woman, even if I get a very hot woman in bed. Once I look at him, somehow something just happens, and then I start to imagine the things that I used to do when I was working at that mortuary, and this just turns me off. I really do not know. I have tried almost to do each and everything that I thought I can do so that I can be able to sleep with a woman normally, but I can't do it. That is my confession. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Sleeping with dead people for the sake of money. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.